Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Kay, and I'm here today to review Beyond the Gate Season 2, Episode 114. So you guys, there's just like three major things that stuck out to me this episode. The conversation, I guess that all kind of ties in. The conversation between Danny and Andre, and then the conversation Danny has with her parents. The whole situation with Tomas proposing, and the conversation between Kat and Eva. Okay, as we know, in the last episode, Kat has woken up from her complications of anesthesia. We saw the dream. Ooh boy, that dream had y'all in the tizzy, didn't it? Oh my God. I seen some of my cousins on Twitter. Y'all was going in. Why y'all gotta be so mean? Oh my God, it's just an episode. I know we're not gonna agree with everything, the writers and, the staff do every single time, but y'all, the story is just being told, We're not gonna agree all the time. It's okay, guys. But yeah, I think this conversation that, Kat had with Eva, as we know, Kat ended up asking Shanice could she take her to Eva's room. And Ted seemed to be a little a little nervous or a little anxious because he didn't know exactly how the conversation was going to go because, as we know, there has been tension between the girls. But with this, situation and the uniqueness of it, I think it led to important conversations that need to be had. Most of all, the clearing of the air. I'm glad that there, was understanding on both sides, mostly because the conflict, the tension, I think they will be able to sit in a room now and not, gripe at each other all the time. Most importantly, I'm glad that Eva was able to express her gratitude toward Kat. And most of all, express it knowing how undeserving of it that she was. And she let it be known to Kat that she was undeserving and that, even though she, knows that Kat didn't have to do it, she's glad that she did. Because, if the shoe was on the other foot and Kat needed it, she said that she would have been, in the same place. She would have extended the olive branch and, given Kat the same, treatment back. She would have given up her liver if Kat needed it. Also, I'm glad that she apologized for, or she acknowledged, she took accountability. I like that word. She took accountability of being the victim sometimes. And I'm glad that she did that because I did agree that there were times, even though there were some times where, Kat wasn't the nicest and, Eva dealt with it. Eva did take accountability for, playing the victim and, going along with some of the narrative sometimes to make Kat look more of a brat than she already is sometimes, And we know that Kat has a good heart. Kat has a great heart. And, Kat is willing to do anything for her family, And then on the flip side, Kat asked Eva, did she hear when she was talking to her? And Eva says no. And, they talk about the last things that, they remembered in the, the last thing Eva remembered while they were in the closet. And, Kat lets Eva know that she was like, I had a dream, and in the dream, I was able to walk in your shoes, and I fully understand you now, and I understand that, coming from the situation that, that you were in with your mom, and your mom was the only person that you had, regardless of, because Eva, not Eva, Kat couldn't understand why Eva's mom had such a strong grip on her. And with everything that was going on in the community and everything that happened with, Ted and Leslie, not Kat, Leslie was the only person Eva had, regardless of how, because I was even saying the other day, I don't even know how Eva even dealt with Leslie, because there would have been moments where I just was not talking to Leslie at all. Like, Leslie wouldn't even be able to contact me, for real. But she was like, I understand, because Leslie was the only person you had, and I now know what it was like to walk in your shoes, and so I'm understanding. She was like, and I would never want to feel that way. And then, of course, Eva was like, I'm glad you were able to understand. And, Kat did say that, this doesn't mean we're going to be sisters, We just, piecing it up. And, I can live with that. I can live with that, I can live with that. And then after, Shanice comes back in the room to get Kat, Eva then tells Ted, I think Ted tells Eva, he's happy. She gives him a summary of the conversation, and he says he's glad that they were able to, find some common ground. He was like, hopefully one day this will lead to us being able to have holiday dinners and stuff. And Eva was like, I could probably make that happen. She was just like, but I think you should just be there now more for Kat than you are for me. And I think Eva understands that because of the situation with Ted just finding out that, their daughter-father relationship, I think that Eva understands that Kat now felt like her daddy didn't want her no more, or that he had a shiny new toy, and then I don't really need you no more. And I'm glad that Eva was understanding of that, and that, she wants Kat to feel wanted. She doesn't want Kat to feel like she stole her daddy. So I was glad that Eva told Ted, Isaiah, me and Isaiah will be okay. I got my mom, I got Isaiah, it's okay. You can go and be with Kat more now, because Kat needs you. Yes, we love. There's healing in the room. There's restoration in the room. We thank God for that. Tomas. A couple episodes I was talking about, I think, the whole situation with Eva and Kat. I was feeling like Isaiah was going to propose to Eva. My God, I didn't even consider Tomas even proposing to Kat. I just didn't even think that was on the board. And I'm glad that Chelsea was confused, and I'm glad that Naomi was slightly confused. I don't know. Naomi kind of seemed like she was rolling with it a little bit, but at the same time, she did give her 2 cents into the situation as well. I don't know how Kat will respond to Tomas possibly proposing to her. But Tomas thought it was a great idea to run it by Chelsea, which I'm just like, okay, Tomas, I feel what you're doing, but I don't know. I'm not rolling. I'm not rolling. I know a lot of people don't like Tomas, and I feel like y'all are right to feel the way y'all feel. It's not that I don't like Tomas. It's just I don't like Tomas and Kat together. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Excuse me. And Chelsea, you was right to bring up the fact that he did sleep with Kat. He slept with Eva, because he did. And, and I just thought, and I thought Tomas was raggedy for that. I really did. I really thought that he was real raggedy for that. And that did not help the situation between Kat and Eva at all. And honestly, I don't know what Kat saw in him to make her take him back. But also, I think because this is Kat's first boyfriend or her serious relationship, that, Kat is on the job training. She's learning as she go. I don't know. I don't know how I think Kat would feel about it. Part of me feels like Kat would be kind of glad because, her and Tomas would be going to the next level, but at the same time, I think she was about to kind of be confused because last time we saw Kat and Tomas have a conversation about their future, Kat was ready to move forward and take certain steps, like with moving in and stuff like that. And after Tomas asked her, of course, but she was ready to move in, and then Tomas dubbed it and was like, no. You know what I mean? And so that's how Kat ended up living at the grandparents' house. So I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how Ted would take that, you know, if he was to go and have a conversation with Ted or Nicole. I just don't feel like Tomas is around the family like that, honestly. I feel like Isaiah has been around the family more than Tomas has. And I know there were a lot of people saying that Tomas didn't look like he was concerned about Kat or something yesterday while I was scrolling Twitter, but after watching the episode twice, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. He said he was concerned, so I'm gonna just have to roll what he said out his mouth. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how to feel about the whole Kat and Tomas relationship. But Chelsea was not rolling. That's all I can tell you. Susan was not what they call him? Bestie Cuz? Bestie Cuz wasn't rolling. Bestie Cuz was not rolling. She was just like, Kat just went through a situation where she was forced to make a decision, you know, against her will that she didn't want to do, and she was pressured. And she was just like, I don't want her to feel pressured. And I think Chelsea was somewhat right for saying that, because it's like moment after moment. Like Kat is going to be recovering. And like Madison said, I understood Madison, where she was just like, you know, there are times where, you know, serious medical situations happen and people have a different outlook on life after that. And then they do decide, hey, let's go for it. And I do understand that plight as well. But I just don't know. I think Madison brought up the point of maybe possibly Chelsea being jealous because Kat is gonna be getting married around the same time as them or something like that. Do y'all think that's a possibility? Do y'all think there's a possibility that Chelsea might be jealous, or Chelsea might want this moment for her, or, you know, she don't want the same moments to be happening with them as them? Because I feel like that came up before. And that's why they kind of stopped talking a while ago. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I feel like we've been here before with the possibility of Chelsea and Kat, you know, saying who's jealous of who or whatever like that. Oh yeah, it was when Chelsea and Madison first got engaged, and Chelsea felt that Kat was somewhat jealous of her and not supportive of her decision or something like that. So hopefully this don't turn into that again. Hopefully it don't. But at Madison, girl, speaking of Madison, girl, where was you at? We ain't seen you at the country club. We didn't see you with what happened with Eva. Everybody was at the hospital. We didn't see you with the whole thing with Kat surgery. We didn't see you there with Chelsea, girl. Where have you been at? Then you show up this episode to check on Eva to make sure she ain't got no concussion. We thank you for your services. But girl, where was you at? And I thought that Leah said that you couldn't practice because you had an ongoing lawsuit. So because Leah has been terminated, has that changed? Are you now back practicing? I meant to say that last time because I think I saw her at the hospital last time. And I know she was still able to do her research, but I didn't know she was able to be back seeing patients. So did I miss something? Do y'all remember that? Maybe y'all can fill me in down below, because I don't remember her getting a green light, but who knows? Maybe I missed it. It might have just went over my head. I might have missed it. But yeah, Madison thought it was romantic. I like Madison. She's a cute girl. I love the way she dresses. You know, she loves being a doctor. She loves her research. She, you know, do her things. And so, you know, I like Madison. And it was just like, you know, when Naomi showed up to Orphe Jeans and they was telling Naomi about everything, you know, Naomi could kind of see both sides, but it seemed like Naomi was more on Chelsea's side than Madison's side. Madison was like, how in the world am I more romantic than y'all? Like, I think it's sweet. Madison was rolling. Not so much Naomi, not so much Chelsea. I don't know. Naomi was like, didn't they just have a whole argument about not wanting to move in together or something? Y'all don't have to live together in order to be engaged or married. There's a lot of people who don't live together before they get married. It's not taboo, guys, you know? But it was just weird, you know? Just weird. You know, when Naomi showed up to Bill's office, Bill was having flashbacks. Bill, I'm about tired of you, Bill, because you just all over the place, friend. Like, you all over the place. Bill was having flashbacks of the moments him and Danny were having their entanglement in the elevator. And he calls out Danny's name out loud, and Naomi walks in. She was like, you have the wrong Dupree woman. Mind you, Naomi and Bill are supposed to be working on Madison's case because that man or that family is still suing Madison. Okay, so this is an ongoing thing. And so Naomi basically calls Bill's bluff because she's just like, first you calling out my mama, first you calling my mama baby, then you calling out her name out while she ain't here. Like, is there something going on? You know what I'm saying? Because like you acting strange, and y'all used to hate each other. Well, Bill like, well, you know, I was married to your mama for a long time. You know, and the feeling was mutual. We both hated each other, but now we're in a better place. We don't hate each other. Naomi is peeping that something is going down with her daddy, but she can't necessarily put her hand on it because she don't necessarily have the proof she need yet. But she is watching for, you know, new revelations to be revealed. And so on the flip side, Danny is at the house with Andre and she oversleeps. Andre's in the bed watching her sleep. Well, he waking her, I don't know, he woke her up or he was trying to wake her up. Danny is just, you know, been having sleepless nights. She tells Andre it's because she was worried about Kat. I just can't deal with the lies, Danny. It's just lie after lie after lie after lie after lie, girl. You gonna just tell the truth. Tell the truth. Honestly, I'm afraid how Andre would take it. I don't know how Andre would take it because too many lies now have been told when she could have just, you know, addressed it. But I think the person who's going to read Danny for what's going on is Anita because I saw the way Anita looked at her when Danny got to her parents' house. But we going to get there. So, Danny and Andre ends up doing what grown people do, grown married people do. And I'm just like, girl, I don't know if she is trying to do that so she can feel something to see if her feelings are still strong for Andre or if she still feels a connection with Andre. Because I think Danny, first of all, she knows that she done really messed up because Andre didn't deserve that. And then it's just like, you know, I think she's ignoring the fact that she knows that something is there for Bill, but something is there for Andre too. So now we're going to have to deal with this inward battle of who Danny going to pick. She wants to choose Andre because she knows Andre is the right choice. And because of all the things her and Andre have been through and because of the way Andre feels for her. But I pray to God that Danny don't end up going back to Bill. I do not want her to be back with Bill. Also, I just feel like, you know, with everything going on, it's just like Danny is feeling guilty, but Bill don't really feel guilty. Bill just want what he want. And so we end up seeing that Bill tells Naomi that he's going to play golf with one of the judges who's going to be overseeing the court date or whatever. And so he tells Tomas to meet him. So Tomas leaves Chelsea in the engagement talk, gets to the gym. They play golf with the judge. You know, they meet back up in the locker room. Bill, Andre, and Tomas have a conversation. Tomas ends up telling Bill and Andre that he wants to propose to Kat. You know, of course, Bill has been pushing that Tomas and, you know, commits to Kat. But also, Tomas asks Bill and Andre for, like, their marriage advice. Andre just gives a generic statement. And Bill was just like, you know, I think you should do what you want to do. I don't think I should give you no advice. But then Bill ends up saying something about how he's been concerned for Danny because of the whole thing with Kat and Eva. And Andre tells Bill, you know, you can be concerned for Kat and Eva, but there's no need for you to be concerned about Danny because Danny is not your responsibility. She's mine. And it's just like the constant bumping the horns. And then, Bill, I don't like the way you be smirking. I don't like the way you be smirking because it gives that you want to say something, but you're not going to say nothing because, you know, Danny told you not to say nothing, but you giving that smirk. And I just don't know. I don't know if Andre is people to smirks, but you doing too much. Keep a blank face because you doing too much. And it's the fact that he thinks by that whole entanglement happening in the elevator that he has one-upped Andre, but he's just jealous because Andre is in the place that he want to be. So I'm just like, Bill, you just dirty. You just dirty. But it's just like, Danny keeps telling Andre, you know, I want to be able to move on. She's very like on the nose, but vague at the same time. She keeps telling him, you know, I want to be able to move on from that night because that night just keeps troubling me. And Andre's thinking it's because of a traumatic event, because of the traumatic event. And it's not because of the traumatic event. It's because her heart and her soul is twisted from the guilt. And then it's like, okay, well, Danny leaves her house and goes to Anita and Vernon's house. And then Anita, you know, girl, call them doctors back and make your appointment, auntie. You've been through enough. I agree with Vernon. Don't stall your appointments no more. In order for you to take care of Kat, you need to be healthy and in good, strong health to, you know, take care. Like Vernon said, you know, everybody's going to be involved. Everybody's going to make sure Kat is good. So you don't got to try to put that on your back, auntie, because there is a team of people who's going to be there to make sure you and Kat are good. And in order for you to make sure Kat is going to be good, you got to be good yourself. Call the doctors back. Vernon, thank you, Uncle Vernon, for not playing with auntie, because sometimes auntie be tripping sometimes, you know, and you got to reel her back in to make sure she's straight. And I appreciate you for that. And she appreciates you for that because she hates to admit when you're right, you know what I mean? And so Danny comes over there and she's talking about, you know, she just wanted to come over there to make sure her parents was good and everything, you know, she's still reeling from everything that happened in the tornado and, of course, the complications with Kat. And, you know, Vernon and Anita didn't like the fact that they was blindsided and they don't want to be blindsided no more. And so they talk about all of that. And so then Danny was just like, you know, Anita said something to Danny along the lines of, you know, you already was in one marriage where, you know, it was about to drive you insane or there was some secrets. And then Danny was like, them was Bill's secrets, not mine. She was just like, I'm the damaged one in this relationship with Andre. She was like, and I would be the one to hurt Andre. And so Vernon is confused because Vernon is like, well, I hate to hear you, you know, belittle yourself and talk about yourself in that manner. While Anita is just sitting there like, so what exactly you trying to say right now? What exactly you trying to say right now? And auntie, I'm with you because what exactly are you trying to say, Danny? It's just like Danny is saying everything on her conscience to try to free herself, but the very thing that she needs to say. She's talking all around the thing, but not saying exactly what the thing is. Girl, if you confess your sins, girl, like Anita is just sitting there looking like, so what exactly are you saying, Danielle? Danielle, what are you saying? And so, Danny talking about some, oh, well, you know, one thing that the tornado has taught me is that in traumatic events, people make decisions that, they make decisions in a split second that can affect them moving forward. I'm just like, here we go. Here we go. Here we freaking go. I'm like, Danny, I wonder in today's episode, is Anita going to hear that and call Danny's bluff? Because I need her to. I need that to happen. I need for Danny to admit to her mother what she's going to do. Because one, I want to hear Anita's POV. Two, I want to hear the advice or what, she's going to say to Danny about this entanglement. Because Anita is going to be so hurt, so disappointed, and confused. I don't know if she's going to necessarily she probably will tell Vernon, but I don't know. Because if she tell Vernon, Vernon is going to bill. Vernon is going to bill if Anita find out, and if Danny tell Anita, Anita's going to tell Vernon. Vernon is going to approach Vernon. Anita probably is also going to tell Danny to say something to Andre. Oh, Danny, this is getting too many people involved. And then I can't believe she told Raggedy Vanessa. Vanessa is just raggedy. Like, girl, raggedy. I think she should have told Nicole. Nicole would have judged her, but nonetheless, she probably would have given her good insight. Not tell you to hide it like Vanessa. She just, oh, Jesus, that just really bothered me. I just got upset. Because I'm just like, out of all the people Danny chose to tell the secret to, she told Vanessa. She could have told anybody. She could have told Naomi. I don't think Naomi wouldn't have said nothing. Well, probably not tell Naomi, because then Naomi would have started airing her grievances with Jacob for something he didn't even do. But, that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to even jump on that case. But, yeah. So, I think that's it, y'all. I think that's all I have for this episode. Important thing. One important thing. Leslie went in Kat's room. Now, Leslie, let me tell you something. Don't you ever go in nobody else's room while you talking to them and they in the hospital and you throw that call bell button on their floor. Because that is cruel. And it doesn't look like you there for airing out grievances. It looks like you in there to commit some type of crime. And Kat was on guard because Kat was like, if you try something, I will scream. That's what she was giving. She would scream and she would make a loud noise and then you going to jail. Don't even try it because she know what you did to Laura. And she got her eye on you. Very on guard. Leslie tries to tell Kat, I take my debts seriously. She was like, I appreciate what you did for Eva. She was like, because if something would have happened to Eva, she don't know what she would have did. Oh my God. And I'm glad that, Kat decided to save Eva because I don't know what Leslie would have did either. We thought Leslie was annoying. Now, if Eva would have gone to the great beyond, she would have been unbearable. She's barely tolerable now. And so I'm just like, So Kat was just like, she told her not to call her Kitty Cat no more. First of all, because she hates that name. Second of all, she told her, she was just like, I appreciate what you did. And she was like, I take what you did seriously. She was like, and I'm forever indebted to you because, there's nothing I can do that, to cover what you did for Eva. And she was like, I've never had anybody do nothing like that caring for me like that ever. And Kat was just like, well, don't worry about it. I did it. The deed is done. Eva's here. And I will be here to collect my debt. And you want to know what? When she said that, the look in her eyes, I'm just like, girl, make Leslie confess to what she did to Laura. She gonna ask her that. Is the truth gonna come out? I need her. Apologies need to be had all the way around. I said this a couple episodes ago in one of my reviews. Apologies need to go all the way around, girl. Matter of fact, go to the police station and start your open confession now. Start the confession now because you're going to jail. Or she gonna say something about she gonna say you and Eva need to leave town. Kat gonna say something along the lines of that. Like, I don't see what else it could be. What else could it be? Okay, maybe not leave town. don't, maybe not leave town, but she gonna say she gonna want Leslie to leave. Something. Cause what could it be? What could Kat want? Cause she said she come to collect her debt. And as soon as she out that hospital, she probably gonna make good on her word. So I need to know what exactly it is she want. Maybe we'll find out today in today's episode, because I need to know. I'm going for the open confession. I'm going for her to tell them what she did to Laura. Or something of the sort. Leave her daddy alone, something of the sort. Apologize to my mama, something of the sort. I just need, what could it be? But yeah, that's all I have for this episode. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos.